Alright, MrSotko here, and welcome back to another Wargame Red Dragon replay cast. Today it's a 1 vs 1 on Nuclear Winter is Coming between our blue player ANZ Faust, and on the left side we have Razzmann. And it has been quite some time since I have casted a game with basically other people in it other than myself. As for a while the replay website was down, it no longer exists, and a new one was up, and I actually didn't know that a new one was up for a little while, and somebody gave me a link to it, and so I thank the person who gave me that link. I probably could have found it on my own, but I guess maybe I was just a little lazy about it. But either way, that happens from time to time, so all the units are now moving on out. Is Nuclear Winter is Coming. And we'll see what these two are sporting. So Razzmann moving out. Troop carriers, Challenger Mark 1, an AVRE, and a Stormer here, and a Lynx with some recon. Going to be putting some recon in the woods over there. And it has Lav Vickers, Warreen moving on over. And so nothing too crazy between these two going on just yet. Lots of troops here moving on to the left side for a Crotal as well. And Gazelle and a Celtic here. Or Celtic, I suppose I've heard it both ways, but Celtic, whatever. Either way. And an SAS. Moving into the town as well. The Lynx peppering up with some rocket pods, stopping these troops here, and it's pretty critical that he stopped these troops before they actually made it either into the town or into the woods there. And now the SAS here going to stinger the Harrier G3, see if they can take that out, and it doesn't really look like it, and they shot once and missed it. Lynx didn't get taken out either by the Harrier, so that is pretty good for the both of them. And ANZ Faust sporting a fob, so Lynx can actually go back there. Razzmann, no fob, so he will not be able to do that. And using fairly similar, another Lynx H7 over here as well. And SBS now moving into the recon line here. And CS and moving on in there, and it looks like he knows what's going on in there, so he's going to be pushing some troops and vehicles and such in there as well. But the SBS might be able to take those out fairly easily. We'll have to see how that works out. So far 0-0, no one capturing anything just yet, which is the usual, as you usually don't want to capture anything right away if you don't have to. That way you have a lot more funds, as a typical CV costs anywhere from 100, or if you go for a tank CV, could be even up to 180 or so. So that takes quite a bit of units out away from you. So you usually want to get the advantage before you actually start taking territory. But either way, it works. And Harrier GR3 gets taken out by the Crotal. That is definitely bad for Razzmann losing that. And Gewehrman now pushing into the line here. And the Leopards picking up the Bison troop carriers that are moving down the line there, so not too big of a deal. Commandos and Erics all along the edge here, so these Gewehrmen definitely not going to be able to take out all of that, so they're going to get stopped, and we'll have to develop a bigger force before pushing through into the Alpha town there. And so that is that for Alpha at the moment. Commandos and Gewehrmen about to go at it. The Aslavs there could push up with the 50 cal as well, try and deal some damage to those Gewehrmen. And meanwhile, on the right side, Razzmann pushing significantly into Hotel here. Canadian Rifles now moving forward, and we'll have to go at it with the Fusiliers. And the superior rifles, numbers of the rifles might be able to take out these Fusiliers, but the Fusiliers definitely have the advantage of already being stopped in the woods. And the SBS now on the line of the wood line here did take out those vehicles. As I said earlier, the Cargo Gustav down to 7 out of 10. Canadian Rifles now trying to pour into the town. Just some Milans on the edge here. They should be able to push through that very easily. And the Erics now firing on them as well. Rangers on the edge of the town. And so not a lot defending this town. And Razzmann's really pushing in there. However, I think Faust doing fairly well over here on the left side. But it's just about even on the left side. And the Leopards taking out the Aslavs and push through to take out those Gewehrmen. Commandos did pretty well. And a Mexus now moving on in towards that area as well. And the AVRE here now firing into the town at the SAS. Looks like he's ground firing into the town and slightly missing those SAS. Not sure if he is actually ground firing or not. And so far now a +2 advantage for Faust with the HQ section in Charlie. So now developing that advantage. And Stormer's now pushing up through the town line here. But again, this is going to be very hard to push through this with all these Eric's, Canadian Rifles, and Commandos in this line. You have to bring quite a lot to actually force him out of Alpha. Alpha's well defended by Razzmann at the moment. And the Shiki here getting torn up by the 495s. And didn't quite make it in there now. So now Faust going to have a lot of trouble getting into Hotel. At some point, he may actually have to abandon even trying to get into Hotel, and we'll have to just really work on the left side exclusively. So we'll have to see. Didn't quite bring enough. Razzmann brought a lot more to this side than Faust. Also, Razzmann did not start with a fob either. So he did have a 75-point advantage, although not much. It is a couple units, couple Canadian Rifles or so to be brought up there. Even maybe a whole squad of 4 and Lynx AH7s moving on up. But there is a Gazelle still floating above the sky here. Going to see all this going on. And now still trying to push into the side here. The Leopards doing a lot of work in this game. Stormer's trying to now make it into the edge here, and Commando's too close to the edge of the woods, allowing the Leopards to fire on them. So now the Stormers have a big advantage, and we'll be able to push them through. Green Jackets moving onto the edge as well, but these are recon tanks. They should be able to get a spot in on these Green Jackets. But here's the Mexis now. So now it's going to be Mexis versus the Green Jackets and the 2 Leopards. Leopards at 15 AP power, the Mexis at 14 armor, so they will be able to penetrate, but the Mexis is a fairly good tank, a little bit better than the Leopard overall, except they are in recon. And the Leopards get taken out there. Now it's zeroed out, as Razzmann did put an HQ section in the back there. And now here are your GR7 moving on out. Where Faust doesn't look like he had the sight on anything to really pave way. And again, Hotel's going to be very difficult for him to enter with that Challenger 1 on the edge now. And there goes the GR7 launching at the Mark 1, but does not finish it off. And it looks like it did take a shot or two from that Storm, but it didn't take it out. And so Faust still has the advantage, though, 52 points, as he did get that, did get the Charlie first. Apparently talking is hard. HQ section ready to move into Hotel, however, from Razzmann, and that will put him at the +2 advantage, and it won't be long till he surpasses that 52 points and has a fairly good edge on Alpha here. And with the Leopards now gone, there's really no firepower to get into those areas. Delta could be easily taken by Faust, but that's still not going to help him out against this +2 advantage that he will have over here. Even if he takes this, it'll still be a +1 advantage for Razzmann. So in a little bit of trouble now. And the Fuchs Milan here spots the Centurion AVRE, and it's going to be moving up and trying to Milan the AVRE. And a complete and wild miss from the Milan as he moved it just after firing. And he keeps moving the Milan after firing, as the AVRE is really getting away from him here, as they are guided missiles and will just fly off into space in oblivion. And so far the Milan did just about nothing there. Stormer now moving in towards the town here. There is an ASLAF 25 that the Stormers could easily take out. But again, getting into the town, too many Erics and Commandos for the Stormers to take out. And Hotel now thoroughly infested by Razzmann, and well done taking that. It is fairly covered. The right side maybe, but that's going to be logistically very hard to get into. A Shiki now moving over to the right side here, but still not going to be able to do too much. and a ton of M36 now moving up for Faust, and these are super cheap. I always use these when I can in decks that happen to have them, such as multinational decks, as they are actually pretty good. Only 8 AP power, pretty much no armor, 2 frontal armor. They don't have a stabilizer, unfortunately, and they run out of fuel pretty much instantly. Some of the worst fuel ratio in the game in terms of efficiency. However, the tank destroyer that once was a tank destroyer, I suppose, is pretty good in bulk, especially if you just push it through the woods or just take out troops with them. They're just so inexpensive to buy. I like to push with them in various situations. GR7 here going to release, and Quaddies coming down at the AVRE. AVRE probably not going to handle that, and gets taken out. Stormers spot all the Canadian rifles here pouring into the wood line. And so it's going to be about equal amounts of Canadian rifles versus Stormers. However, the Stormers have the IMG-3, which is basically the best machine gun in the game, and along with the AH-7 firing on them, takes that out in a quick hurry. And 2 more Leopard recon tanks here moving on up to the edge, and should be able to spot those Canadian rifles perhaps, and finish those off. M36 now moving on up as well, and Hotel not looking too good here with Alpha taken now as well. Razzmann with a +4 advantage. And it looks like the Eric spotted the 180 here and took one of them out. And Faust could try doing a really wild flank all the way around and starting to take out some of this stuff, or at least some of the stuff coming out of Bravo and coming through the road here, and could take out a few things going through there. That could slow down Razzmann a little bit, but overall in Hotel is pretty much toast, and the only way to take that is with a huge force that he would have to save up for at least several minutes, and by then he would have less forces over here. So in a bad situation there with Hotel, losing Hotel like that, you just really don't want to lose Hotel. You just need to put the things over there that you need over there in the first place, but it happens from time to time. And now GR7 now moving on in, and see if it actually has a target. I don't think it does. And Rapier now firing at it, and the Stormer is going to fire at it. And this GR7 is going down. Didn't really get too much off there. Did get the caveways on the Bisons. Bison's taken out and unable to cross the bridge there, or the water rather. So the GR7 did its job, but got taken out in the process. Flew over the Stormer and the Rapier there. And now V150 Recon moving on over to the right side for Faust. And going to bring up a CV for Delta, which is going to bring it down to +3. That's still not going to quite help him out. Really needs these critical ones like Alpha and Hotel to be able to stay in the game for very long here. And all the M36 must be waiting for a big push. As of right now, they're not doing too much. The ASAP 25 is going to maybe take out one of these 180s here. And looks like 4 Stormers are going to be moving up on the Aslav. Vickers there going to be firing on him as well. Nearly took out 1, so all the Stormers going to survive there and push forward. Now all the M36 are pushing forward as well, and a Milan has been pushed up to the edge of the town to fire on any kind of armor. And here comes the Leopards now pushing in, and that forces the Vickers Mark II back. And so far, a pretty good push. And this is exactly what M36s are for. You just get a bunch of them and just push them forward. It's just, and if you lose them, it's sort of like a meh sort of situation because you really didn't pay much for them at all. And, you know, they do just as much as any other tank in terms of damage to troops with that 3 HE power. So they're actually quite good, and you get, I think, with a multinational deck, I think you get 16 of them in a deck. So really, you can get 16 tanks for only 160, which you would pay for a lot of things in this game. And 16 of them all firing is way more than any one single expensive tank. And and they're just overall pretty good. Lynx now moving on in here, and that's going to be a problem as there's no real anti-air over here. There's a Crotal. He's now moving the Crotal over to the right here. Going to put that in the edge of the wood line. Hopefully he has the vision to be able to actually hit that Lynx from the air there, which I don't think he does. Maybe. Always hard to tell in this game. And Crotal now moving on over, and if he moves the Crotal too far, the Mexus might be able to hit that from there, or at least he would bring it out in division, and he would move that in on there. So the M36 did quite a bit of damage to any of the troops firing in on these Stormers now moving in, and now some additional Stormers moving in on the town from the right. And this is exactly what I was saying earlier, is you just really need to, there is so much troops in this town here, and so much that he would just really need to push with a huge force, either that or do it in a hotel, but I think hotel is just really sort of a lost cause. You can see the M36 almost already out of fuel. M36 easily one of the worst fuel efficient vehicles in the game, run out so fast. It's sort of like Pivads, how fast Pivads run out of fuel, but I think even worse. So that is probably the #1 flaw of the M36, not the fact that it's cheap or that it doesn't have much armor or anything like that. It's the fact that it runs out of fuel instantly. As soon as you start moving across open ground, it's just so bad. And 495s here firing away at the M36. M36 also gets panicked here fairly quickly as well. And then it starts to become fairly bad. And again, he moved that Crotal out, trying to get after the Lynx there in the sky. But the Mexus saw it, pushed forward, took it out. Not only +3 advantage for Razzmann as he did get that CV into Delta. And now Rangers and Stormers are inside the town here. Challenger Mark 1 now pushing forward, but there's a couple Leopards right here. And at this close range, those Leopards will penetrate the Challenger, but the Challenger pretty much one-shot them anyway. And did one-shot that one, although that one was quite low on health, admittedly. And M36 basically already out of fuel. This one is at 39. It doesn't have much longer to go. And it looks like even more Gewehrmen now moving up to the town line here. And still nothing going on over on the right here. Pretty much just gave up on hotel after losing that. The Lynx AH7 now moving on in. Went to the fob, got some more rockets, and it's ready to go again. Even more Gewehrmen now moving in, which I believe these are Gewehrmen. And Gewehrmen really getting up deep up in there in that town, and gonna release in the woods here. Lost one of the XAs and lost just one Gewehrmen there, but lots, all of the Gewehrmen from the Lynx and the H7 doing huge work here, and it's ready to launch rockets again. Release the SAS, and is nearly out of rockets, but has another barrage or two left here, and does big damage to those Gewehrmen. Gewehrmen now split up and pushing into the town, or into the forest rather, and the Challenger Mark 1 moving on up. Commandos as well need to release those. Unfortunately, the Gewehrmen used the law, which is absolutely garbage. Which I hate to say, but it certainly is. It's absolutely one of the most, easily one of the most terrible rocket launchers in the game. Misses almost every time, and then as soon as you get panicked, it misses even more, and these are already panicked, so now the accuracy is even less than 30%. So we'll only do 1 damage to the Mark 1 if they even hit it, but their MG is what they are really used for, the MG3, since it's pretty much the top machine gun in the game. And that is going to be GG. Razzmann takes the game and really did a good job by pushing up the right so far there and taking hotel right in front of Faust, and that gave him a big advantage right off the bat. Faust just simply couldn't take that back. It would take way too many resources to have taken that back, and then if he did that, Razzmann could have just focused his resources on the left and just taken everything. But I hope you guys enjoyed the replay, and I'll see you guys next time.